next 6 speeches are from TED-Ed. We should be teaching kids how to argue. Now, this might sound like a bad idea. Nobody wants to argue with the toddler. But the kind of interaction we think of when we hear the word arguing is not what I'm talking about today. I'm not talking about a scream off or even witty comebacks. No, I'm talking about arguing ought to be. By definition, arguing is to give reason or cite evidence for an idea, action, or theory, typically with the aim of persuading one to share one's view. It is not to have a heated battle of words in which the two participants are too stubborn to listen to each other. So, how do we change this? First, we need to teach our kids to listen like they're wrong, and second, to argue like they're right. Listen like you're wrong. We're all human, and as much as we hate to admit it, sometimes we're wrong. America was built on compromise, not extremists. Our founding fathers understood the importance of listening, something many of us have forgotten. So, why do we listen? We have to first understand what others think and feel, so that they might understand what we think and feel. Stephen Covey calls this seek first to understand, then be understood. It is one of the most important habits in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So, instead of coming up with quick assumptions, we should hear people out. It will help us find the truth. And not only that, if we value what they have to say, they will value what we have to say as well. Listen like you're wrong, but argue like you're right. As a kid with 2 debate champions in the household, I was taught to argue like I was right. And man, did I argue like I was right. So, how do you do this? First, be confident. Second, have supporting facts. And third, to be extra persuasive, explain what's in it for the other person. Being confident does not mean being single-minded and contentious. It does mean standing up for what you believe in. There is something known as the Abilene paradox. The story goes that one person suggests to a group of people that they should take a road trip to Abilene. Not wanting to hurt the other person's feeling, one agrees, and another, until the whole group decides to go to Abilene. They go on a hot, miserable road trip, only to find there's nothing to do in Abilene at all. But no one was confident enough to say they didn't want to go to Abilene. So be confident. It might save you a trip to Abilene. Second, have supporting facts. At Odyssey, I had the great fortune to take one of my favorite classes twice, Dream Launch. In Dream Launch, we often discuss problems in the world and how we could change them. But sometimes we would have an argument whether the problems we were talking about were problems at all. And those arguments would go a little something like this. The student would say, Mr. Jossel, I think you're wrong. And Mr. Jossel would say, well, did you know, insert fact. And then the student would say, well, why should I care? And then Mr. Jossel would say, well, life would be easier for you if the problem didn't exist, and much, much harder if you were a part of the problem. Mr. Jossel would first come at you with the facts, then how it affected you personally, and then how it affected others emotionally. Have supporting facts. Third, to be extra persuasive, explain what's in it for the other person. For example, when I was a kid and my parents wanted to go out and eat with me, and I wanted to stay home and hang out with friends, sometimes I would say, why don't you guys go out and have a date night? I get something I want, and they get something they didn't even know they want. Argue like you're right. We should teach kids how to argue. Not to scream, but to understand what we're saying. Not to cry, but to give us reasons why they should get what they want. When they're all grown up, we'll have a new generation that argues for truth and a common good instead of personal gain. Thank you.